Hi everyone. So today, instead of a reading, I'm going to tell you a little story. I had a vision. The more I work on myself, the more visions that I have, and I wanted to share one with you. So I was going into some kind of trance while I was walking around. I'm working a lot of my ancestral healing, which involves getting back in touch with my roots, like where I come from, right? I talked about that in a video I posted yesterday. And while I'm listening to some beats, some Nahuatl music, actually. Nahuatl is the one of the main tribes and the most original dialect, the most spoken dialect in Mexico before the colonizers and the conquistadores came and took over. It's still alive, right? And while I was in this trance walking around, I had this vision of a man who was in the desert, and he was a warrior, but he was always misunderstood. And it's almost like people could always see the potential in them and could always see how they were going to make something of themselves, but nobody really knew quite what it was, and everybody had an opinion on what this person had to do, this specific warrior from that tribe. And he became desperate, almost crazy, almost lunatic, of like, no, this ain't it. This reality is not it. I have to go in search of the truth. And he ran as fast as he could. And again, this is a vision I had, right? And I've had it in two parts. And he went and he ran as fast as he could and as far as away as he could. Took no water, no food, no shoes, just whatever clothing he had on. And he ended up in the middle of the desert. And in the middle of the desert, he started realizing that his body couldn't keep up with his spirit anymore. And that the more he ran, and the more he felt dehydrated, and the more he felt that his body was slowly giving up on him and dying, the more his spirit became calm. And he wasn't looking for death. He didn't actually know what he was looking for. All he knew is that at that point, he was really grateful that he knew that if his life was to end at that point, that Mother Earth was going to embrace him. And even though the sun had dehydrated him and burned his skin, he knew that he couldn't ask the sun to stop shining for him, because the sun was doing what the sun needed to do. It wasn't personal. The sun didn't say, hey, I'm going to dehydrate you and kill you. The sun said, hey, I'm going to come out and do what I do every day, which is keep this planet warm and keep this planet alive with my light. And this warrior knew that. And he was so thankful that the sun was shining, even though it was killing him. He was so thankful that he got to be, after he knew his body would decompose, one even more with Mother Earth. And it's such a feeling, because I was feeling what he was feeling. Like, I was feeling all his gratitude of how excited and how in peace he was to be connected to Earth again. And not only do this breathe in, breathe out, and I live off of you and you live off of me kind of deal with the Earth, on worshiping it and adoring it, but just really be there, this gratitude, right? And when Mother Earth saw the gratitude in him and saw the way he was looking at things, he asked Father Sun if they could turn him into wind. And they both agreed that they were going to allow him to turn into wind. And with this wind, they would tell him to bring in clouds, a lot of clouds. And the sun agreed that he would not shine for 1 week. And again, this is a vision I had, right? And then the clouds, brought over by this rafty wind, came in and covered the sun in that desert for 7 straight days, and it just rained and rained and rained on the same spot. And Mother Earth then created an oasis, a safe place where other lost souls that were out in the desert didn't have to die the way this person died, the way the warrior died in search of a truth, and can actually just come and rescue themselves there. Now, there was a caveat, right? Only those that were in touch with the wind, in touch with the elements, could understand that this new entity, this warrior that was now wind, could come and guide the lost searchers of truth that were out in the desert, right? So if another warrior had the same experience as he did and wanted to find truth in the desert by losing themselves. The wind can guide them towards the oasis so they wouldn't have to die the same way. And from then on, this warrior was the wind, and they will guide you to this oasis that was created because not of his sacrifice, but his intention and his love for being one with nature. And let that mean whatever you want it to mean to you. And I just like to remember that each element has a correlation to a way, right? Wind, in the case and the way I look at things, the wind is rationality, psychic abilities, knowledge, conflict resolution. And the sun represents the ego, healing, fire, destruction, and rebirth. And the Mother Earth represents the material and the nurturing and the compassion and the unconditional love. And water is our emotions. Water are emotions, and water is also the subconscious. So let that sink in. And this is new for me. So thanks for listening. Bye.
You just got read.